So a couple of examples then of these responses to our environment. So just to remind you, we've got two control systems, the nervous system and the endocrine system, and both of them follow this process. So there's a stimulus, receptors, coordination center, effectors, and response. So I'm just going to show you one example for each, just to kind of give you an idea of what this is all about. So we'll start off with a smell. So thinking about a smell that would make you hungry. So that might be bacon, it might be cake, cooking, or freshly baked bread, or whatever it is. But it's the stimulus would be the chemicals which contain that smell. Those chemicals would then be detected by receptors. Those receptors would be in your nose. And then they would send information to a coordination center, in this case, your brain. And that would then send information to effectors. In this case, the effectors might be your salivary glands, telling your salivary glands to start producing saliva in preparation for digestion. And so the response would be the production of saliva. Now, effectors are always either a muscle or a gland, and you'll see that as we go through each of the different examples that you learn about in this topic. All of the effectors are either a muscle or a gland. So that is a response coordinated by the nervous system. Here is one coordinated by the endocrine system, and you'll notice here that the coordination center is not the brain. And this organ here, if you don't recognize it, is the pancreas. So something that your body needs to control is your blood sugar. This is controlled by your endocrine system. And so the stimulus in this case might be your blood sugar either being too high or too low. This is detected by receptors. There's receptors for this are in the pancreas. The coordination center for this is also the pancreas. And the effector is also your pancreas, which is a gland. And the gland in your pancreas, the glands in your pancreas might produce the hormone insulin, which is responsible for helping to control blood sugar. A lot more on that later in this topic. So in this example, the pancreas is a very busy organ because it's the receptor, coordinator, and the effector. So just to summarize then, and this is the bit that I'm wanting you to learn, we've got a stimulus, which is going to be a change in the environment, and there's some examples of the different stimuli that you might get there. The stimulus is picked up by receptors. The receptors send information to a coordination center, which send information to effectors, and the effectors do the response by the body. So we've got our definitions down here. So the receptors are cells that detect stimuli. So they're specialized, they're specific to the stimulus. So, for example, the receptors in your eye wouldn't be able to detect smell, and the receptors in your ear wouldn't be able to detect a change in temperature. So they're very specialized to the stimulus involved. The coordination center, like we've said, it's often the brain and the spinal cord, but not always, as you saw in the previous example. And then our effectors are always a muscle or gland that bring about a response. So like I say, it's this slide here. This is the important bit to kind of learn. And at the moment, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but you will see as we go through this topic, and we'll keep coming back to this, this process happening again and again with both the nervous system and the endocrine system. And it will, I promise, make more and more sense to you as the topic progresses.